So, our first speaker, John Kreitz. He's a member of the California Rifle and Pistol Association, and I'm sure he will tell you a little bit more about himself. Thank you, John.
I am not a public speaker, obviously. Bend over. Name is John Kreitz. I live in Scotts Valley. I am a member of the California Rifle and Pistol Association. I am not speaking on their behalf. Like a lot of folks, finally got to the point to realize that I've never been a criminal. I've never had anything more than a slew of traffic tickets. And I'm about to become a criminal. These bills pass through, clock will tick over, and I will be a criminal. I will have done nothing. I'll have committed no crime, but I'll be one. The way that the bills are written, and I'm sure most of the folks here are interested enough to read them in detail, each one of these things creates a crime. You create a brand new crime, of which the rosters get filled very quickly. Money is apportioned to deal with this new crime and this new class of criminals. And our law enforcement folks are now further depleted. They get to spend their time and energy now pursuing a new class of criminals who have never violated another person, who have never used a weapon in a violent manner, and now we're suddenly a brand new set of criminals. Newsom's initiative has gotten press because a lot of the sheriff's associations have been brave enough and honest enough to go public and say, we're against this. You know, we need help fighting the real criminals. All this is going to do is take away our resources. But our lieutenant governor is certainly willing to grandstand, get his name on something, and let that be his visible pathway to the governors. Not talking in politics, but once upon a time, a guy named Schwarzenegger did exactly the same thing. And nothing wrong with that. Get a petition going, get an initiative going, get a ballot going, get visible in the public. And but his was about after-school care for kids. It passed and it's functional. Right now, I have been appalled that these elected officials are creating legislation. I shouldn't be shocked, but I'm appalled. They're creating legislation with zero knowledge. We've all seen the rhetoric that's come out. They have no knowledge whatsoever about firearms. It's also appalling that they would not draw near to them people who actually have expertise in that area. That clearly hasn't happened. I don't think they're going to get anywhere near anyone who actually is familiar with firearms, including people who teach safety and proper respect and have knowledge for them. And then to turn around and take that, you know, lack of knowledge, and again, create a set of criminals. Yeah, appalling is the cleanest expression I can use in the group right now. And equally appalling is the fact that they continue to be elected and utilize every tragedy as another stepping stone to move a political agenda. The political agenda comes from the outside, and a lot of times it's fostered on, unfortunately, our police folks. I'm from Scotts Valley. A while ago, a political agenda was handed to our local police to try to shut down the gun shops we had in Scotts Valley. Actually, had several. And when I saw another bill that came through that was requiring a certain amount of beyond NSA level surveillance, it's exactly the same verbiage. It's word for word. All right, so the same agenda comes in one way or another to try to shut down the gun shops. And part of keeping and bearing arms is to be able to legally acquire them. It goes part and parcel. You can't be taking an agenda to shut down the gun shops. Part of my position on that too is those shops are resources. They're connected with training. They're connected with people making the right decisions. Anyhow, you know, it hits really close to home. I was raised, we had guns around all the time. One thing that I think anybody here who shoots will realize that regardless of age, it still doesn't take very long to shoot through your allowance. It was pretty easy then to save up our money for 22, and it just gets more expensive. But we need to be able to have that ammunition. Even if I need, you know, a few rounds in my house, ultimately for self-defense, what does it take in your home, available to you, to be proficient, to be safe with that firearm? This isn't a small number. And of course, one of the other things, which if nuisance go through, if I bring back some ammo from a hunting trip or acquired elsewhere, that's illegal as well. So the things for me to be more competent as a gun owner become a challenge. Well, again, I become a criminal. People who don't quite understand a lot of this aren't recognizing what's happened in the world. It's real easy to make the statement and say the times have changed. My simple reference is this one. When I'm about 20 years old, I managed to amass a string of speeding tickets. These weren't exactly reckless races. I was driving a 36 horsepower Volkswagen, okay? But I found the speed traps in Golden, Colorado on my way to work. So we're 45 years ago now. I get my string of speeding tickets, all right? Every time I got a ticket, and that officer wrote out the ticket, and I signed that ticket, I was sitting in the front seat of his squad car next to him. Fast forward to today, our policemen are afraid to approach a traffic stop for fear of being murdered. Why are people more concerned than ever about having weapons for their own personal defense and taking the training? It's important to protect our own lives and our families. I have an obligation as a man to protect my family, my loved ones, those around me in the community. I think probably most of the men here probably at one time stood up and swore and joined the service. I enlisted in the Air Force once upon a time. Wasn't biplanes, it was later, but we were swearing to protect a community of our families. That was our country. It's no different than our family. It's no different than your loved ones and your friends. And no one has the right to take away my ability to protect my loved ones on a smaller or larger scale. They just don't have that right. So, I think so many things were covered before I came up here. I hadn't planned on speaking. I had about a 3-hour drive up here, and I'm sure I've forgotten a lot of it. But it's really important. I appreciate the timeliness here. These bills are going through. There are still processes. There's still the governor. You know, you get hold of everything you can to participate. You need to get all your friends out to vote, at least on the Newsom initiative. Again, as he's already pointed out, it's completely, the heading is backgrounds on ammo. Sounds very innocuous. You look a little deeper. Every hot button on this agenda is in there. Most of the bills, if you read them all, will have one heading. Multiple other things are all stuffed in it. I think there's a grand prize for the one who gets the large capacity magazine part through. So they put in as many bills as possible. I think there's some lotto like that. But everybody needs to participate in whatever way they can. And anyhow, thank you very much.